Hi guys, welcome to another version of the Unedited Podcast. So last time I talked about a kind of controversial subject and you guys seem to enjoy that content. So here's another episode. I found this very strange. I'm not sure if you guys have heard of this story before, but there was a man who hasn't slept a wink in 50 years. Okay, before we get to that story, I'm hoping that this video gets out there because I recently watched a Mr. Beast video where he's curing people all over the world, 1,000 patients with blind eyes and basically making them able to see again. And I hope that if someone catches this story, someone can help this man who lives in Vietnam who has not slept for 50 years. So how did I find out this story? I recently watched a YouTube video by Drew Binsky, a YouTuber who went to Vietnam and interviewed this guy who hasn't slept since 1973. So that's right now 2023, 50 years. Essentially, this guy's story is that ever since he was in a Vietnam War, the Vietnam War that happened when America and Russia picked different sides of Vietnam, North and South, and battled against one another. He fought in the war, and after that, he hasn't been able to sleep a wink. After a fever that happened to him, he has not been able to sleep a wink. In my opinion, this is totally PTSD, okay? This is PTSD happening to this guy. I watched the video. Basically, what happens is he stays up during the whole day. He tries to get himself tired by drinking a lot of alcohol, by smoking a lot, calming his nerves. But then throughout the day, he's like a normal functioning human being. He's an old man now, obviously, right? In his 70s and his 80s. When nighttime comes, he basically just works the whole time. So in the video, he basically lives like in the rural areas where he has like 3 houses, 2 farms, a chicken coop, a pig coop, and like all these things he needs to tend to. So at nighttime, when his whole family is sleeping, he has a wife, he has kids, he has other family members, there's like a whole family there. He just goes around his farm and just works. Picks up corn from the fields or just feeds the animals. Or in the video, he just randomly just makes a fire. And, as the American YouTuber that went to document this whole story, they're just shocked at this whole situation. So I'm looking at the comments and I'm like, is it possible for people to actually stay alive while not being able to sleep? The world record for not sleeping is 11 days. And like by half of that, you start hallucinating. But this man, miraculously, through some DNA mutation, is able to function normally like a human being. Of course, I don't think his cognitive abilities or his mental capabilities are at the peak just simply from not sleeping. But the man wants to sleep. And it's obvious that in the video, it even shows the man's hand has been, damaged by the American Vietnam War that happened during the 50s throughout the 70s, right? He fought during the 60s. It's super PTSD. Like, in the video, he's trying to lay down and rest, but after about 5 minutes, when they think he's like finally asleep, he comes back up, he gets back up, and starts walking around. It's basically, he still fears that there is a war going on. It's like that story of the American soldier, I don't know if you guys have heard that basically lived on an island in the Philippines. Japanese soldier that lived in the island in the Philippines and still thought World War II was going on in like the 80s and was just killing people, like random civilians. Like, that's how much the war has influenced people. War is insane. And I think people that watch war movies, you watch like Pearl Harbor, you watch all those films, and it's like Black Hawk Down, you get an Americanized, Hollywoodized version of the whole situation. But if you guys want like a real account of how horrible war is, I'm talking about you seeing your best friend's hand get shot off, like a gun, a bullet shot it off, and it slaps you in the face. That's the kind of shit that war is. Listen to a podcast called Hardcore History. It is the best documentation of war I've ever seen. Most realistic. You're not going to see that shit in a movie. We're talking about these guys living in trenches for like weeks on end, having a shit in their pants and not being able to take that shit off and just having it stuck to them. Like, that's the kind of stories that war actually brings. So I can understand why people that fought in the war, like this man, will have PTSD because his country was invaded. And obviously he was I'm guessing part of the North Vietnam because he fought against the Americans, he said in the video. So these American people invaded that country, and during that time, obviously, America, there's a lot of protests going on not to do that, but it was his house. Like, the one that he's living right now, was the place that soldiers came and he had to hide there. Think about that. Your home. You're too poor to get another home or move away to another place. You have to live in that place where a bunch of soldiers with guns and knives came and possibly killed your family, killed your friends, wanted to kill you. You had to fight them off. And for the next 50 years, you had to still live there. Obviously, it would be hard for him to get a wink of sleep. Just those memories alone, it was enough to mess with you for real. So I'm going through this, I'm looking through it. I think it's a very interesting case. And I see this disease called fatal familial insomnia, FFI. And it's actually a rare genetic degenerative brain disorder. And it's basically making the person unable to sleep. Now, I don't think this case specifically is this man's case. Because in the FFI, those people die within months or like a year because they can't sleep. They get dementia. They get delirious, they hallucinate like crazy, their health becomes bad, they can get like a common cold, and because they can't regenerate their body, they'll just die in like half a year. So I don't think it's a genetic disease, and that kind of stuff happens within like a family situation. So in the video, you can see the man's kids, they don't have it, his parents didn't have it. In the familial insomnia, there was a really famous case in Italy where, a whole family could not sleep and they just got this genetic disease. But of course, in reality, I looked at it, you can develop this disease without even having a familial thing. So you can get it yourself. But obviously, I guess the chances of that are not that high. But it's still insane that people in the world have to go through this. And after watching this video, it was truly so fucking heartbreaking that I feel like people with, if I had the money, like I would donate to this cause. So like YouTubers like Mr. Beast, how he was, making people not go blind, curing them of blindness, 1,000 people. And people were saying, oh, he's only doing this to further his own cause. He's gained more from this than those people ever gained. I don't think making a successful YouTube video can be in the same category as being able to see stuff. So people attacking these kinds of charity works are the people causing people not to go and do this, or in case of seeming fake, So I feel like people with the ability should go and help these kind of people. It's insane. Like this story is you guys should totally go and check it out. Hopefully this guy's super famous. He's been reported for like 10 years now. He says he has over 12,000 sleepless nights. Like he wants to sleep. He's not like just being a badass for no reason, like just being an absolute savage, but like he wants to go to sleep. But every time he lies down, I think it's the memories of those horrible things that happen that keeps him from sleeping. So if anything like medical help, or you guys can look into this yourselves or watch the video, go look into the story. And I see a lot of people online are talking about this, and even some experts are like giving their own advice on what it could possibly be. So hopefully this guy will get the resources and the helps that he honestly needs. So yeah, if you guys like me talking about like just strange cases, cases that mean something, not just ghost stories, not just scary stories from around the world, please leave it in the comments and give this video a like, and I will report more of these in this podcast. And I'll talk to you guys soon. I'm just super worked up about this after watching this video. Ty Knock is the man's name, the man who never sleeps. Go look it up yourselves. And make your own decision on what you think on this.